Hi everyone and welcome to EV Rally Talks. My name is Angela Pisano and I'm the editor of Green Fleet magazine, and we're the main supporting media platform for the EV Rally, which kicks off on the 3rd of July. I'm joined today by Mark Newberry, Commercial Director and Sustainability Spokesperson at Europcar Mobility Group UK and Ireland. Hello Mark and welcome to EV Rally Talks.
Hi Angela, thank you for having me here today. Great to be here.
So for those that are unfamiliar with the EV Rally, it's a real-life demonstration of electric vehicles and charging infrastructure, taking in the 5 capital cities of the UK and Ireland and covering over 1,000 miles. Drivers will take in some amazing sights as they visit charge points, charging hubs and clean energy projects en route. So could you tell us why Europcar is sponsoring and entering a team into the EV Rally?
Yeah, thank you. So apart from it sounding like tremendous fun, which I'm sure it will be, there's some really kind of solid business and sustainability reasons behind our decision this year to sponsor and enter 4 vehicles into the event. So firstly, Europcar's aim, I guess our purpose as a business is to be a leader in providing both dedicated and sustainable mobility solutions. Dedicated in terms of bespoke mobility solutions designed for customer needs, whether the businesses or leisure customers, but also sustainability in terms of a kinder impact on the environment, but also sustainable from a business perspective. And those are 2 challenges that businesses are facing into at the moment. How do they make their business more sustainable from an environmental perspective, but also how do they ensure that through these tough times, it's a financially sustainable business too. When we reflect on kind of recent government statistics, we know that the transport sector, I think in the UK in 2020, contributed around 24% of our total emissions. So I think as an industry, we've got a big responsibility to try and make mobility more environmentally friendly here, and that means people like ourselves helping showcase to vehicle users the infrastructure, the routes to greener mobility, and to help take them on a journey. So I think firstly, it's core to our purpose. We want to try and have greener transport and to help bring customers on the journey. Secondly, these kind of transitions, they can be challenging for businesses. They've got lots to contend with, and yet they've also got this really important carbon agenda they need to try and help meet. So as an industry, we need to win hearts and minds. And I think this rally is just a brilliant way of demonstrating how you can get around the country. You can cover miles. You can cope with charging. You can cope with the general mobility issues that are reaching the newspapers. Charging, range, all that stuff. And just really showcase that using EVs is really doable on a sustainable basis. And I think, thirdly, it's just a chance to be part of something that's really collaborative and really positive. I was on holiday last week in the Lake District, and I was reading some Greta Thunberg speeches. She's done this great little short book on how everyone can make an impact, and it's a number of speeches that she delivered in 2019 and 2020 to world leaders, and it's extraordinarily motivating. And I think there's a chance for us to collaborate with like-minded folk on this trip to help change the needle and to help make this industry that we all work in, we've all got responsibility for, to try and help it more environmentally friendly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely is a very collaborative industry. The rally last year did definitely show people working together. For the same objective. So in terms of the vehicles you'll be driving, do you know what they are?
Yes. So we're delighted to be working with the VW Group, and we're going to be showcasing actually a broad range of their brands, but also different vehicle sizes, to try and show that whatever folks' needs are in terms of their vehicles, there is an EV for them. So we've got a Cupra Born, which, as you'll know, is a brand new EV only brand. So that represents our smaller vehicle. We've got a Skoda Enyaq, which is a cool SUV from Skoda. So we're looking forward to using that. We've got an Audi Q8 e-tron, which is the one that most of our team want to drive. It's cool, it's sleek, sporty, and it really showcases a premier EV brand. And then just to show that vans can do it too, we've got an ID Buzz Cargo, which is my personal favourite. So, for us, it was important to show that there is an EV there for everyone, both in their personal and in their business use. And whilst not all of those vehicles are available on our fleet at the moment, it gives us a chance to understand those vehicles as we talk to the vehicle manufacturers about bringing them onto our fleet. But it also, in a snapshot, is an example of what our business does. We have a range of vehicles that we provide to a range of customers to help meet their needs. Really looking forward to putting those 4 vehicles through their paces.
And given that the rally will cover over 1,000 miles, visiting the 5 capitals of the UK, as well as rural areas and a ferry crossing, do you think there will be any particular challenges or opportunities en route?
Well, what could possibly go wrong? Just a typical day in the office. So actually, we really love the geography that is being covered in this year's trip. So as a business, we serve the whole of the UK and Ireland. So we love the fact that its geography in many ways is replicating our customer footprint. We've got stations all around the country, service stations, and in Ireland too. And so the concept of going around those capitals is great for us. We'd like, as an opportunity, if we could, to stop into our headquarters in Leicester along the way, and just down the road from us is Leicester Tigers. We've just done a sponsorship deal with Leicester Tigers, the rugby club, as we're trying to help them with their green mobility needs as well. So in terms of challenges, I think there will be the typical travelling around the UK challenges. I think there'll be the traffic, the weather, the not getting lost, having enough snacks, whose playlist is going to make it onto the radio, all that stuff. Undoubtedly, they'll provide the fun as well. When you reflect on it, those challenges will end up being some of the high points. And the opportunities, as just mentioned, I think, it's quite a treat, I think, to get to spend that amount of time with like-minded individuals right across the value chain, and try to understand how we can amplify this message to reach folk and to tell them about EVs and that there is a sustainable alternative for them out there. So really, really looking forward to it.
So clearly business mobility is a major factor contributing to carbon emissions.
Yeah.
What do you think businesses need to do to tackle this?
Yeah, it's interesting, and there's a multitude of things that they can do, and there's not really a one size fits all. And I think I guess a personal reflection. I think it's quite easy as a society to look at the things that people aren't doing, or to say, you've taken 2 steps forward. What about the other 98? And I just want to try and encourage businesses to make progress. And let's celebrate the progress that they're making, knowing that we can do more, because this is a long journey into trying to have a net zero country. But let's amplify and celebrate people's progress. As mentioned before, it's in our purpose to run a sustainable business, and we operate in over 140 countries across the world, and so I've got a really kind of good understanding of the impact that we have, but also the opportunity that we've got and the responsibility that we've got. And we need to help businesses really drive a transition to help meet the government's commitment of reaching zero greenhouse gases by 2050. Now, we've done some research recently, and that's given us some insight into where businesses are. I think it's about having smarter mobility. So things like traveling when needed and not all the time. When you travel, think about the carbon footprint of your travel. Walking, cycling. Can you transition to more sustainable modes of transport, like car sharing, subscription, or using a rental organisation like ourselves to get a vehicle that suits your purpose for that moment that you need that vehicle, or using an organisation like ourselves to help upgrade the age of your vehicle or move to EVs. We found that 20% of businesses are looking to increase their fully electric fleet. So that's good. We find that 29% of businesses are looking at increasing other forms of mobility. So it's clearly in their consciousness. We find that over half of the businesses we surveyed already had electric vehicles in their fleet. So organisations it's in their consciousness. They are doing it. And I think it's about them looking at the range of options that they've got, being mindful about how you travel, the type of travel you use, and when you need to travel. We know that lots of businesses do. Mobility is a bit of a lifeblood for them. That can you find a greener way of doing it, and can you use organisations like ourselves to help you test and learn, try EVs, and find a sustainable way of using them in your business.
And in terms of the barriers, what do you believe is holding businesses back from simply switching petrol and diesel vehicles to electric alternatives when they require replacing?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I think, so again, from our research, 1 in 3 businesses named the ongoing fleet supply as being a barrier to switching. Now we know, and hopefully it continues, that supply is starting to come. We've got emerging OEMs like BYD and so on, who are starting to bring their vehicles here. We've got European OEMs like the EVs I've just talked about, who are also bringing more supply to market. So I'm hopeful that that's going to start to change. 1 in 3 also admitted having a bit of a lack of understanding about the running costs. It is a change, and so I think there's more that we can do as an industry to help them understand the total cost of ownership of an EV versus the traditional fleet that they've had. And within that, they also cite not really being aware of the maintenance costs. And I think that's an opportunity, because I think EVs broadly have around 1,000 less moving parts than an ICE engine. So there's a opportunity there for business owners to have a vehicle that's actually operational for longer. So I think it's incumbent on people like us to help businesses understand what those issues are and actually how to overcome them. And I think we're at a bit of a tipping point, because where the mainstream media are starting to catch on to EVs, and you'll see sometimes, in my view, misrepresentative headlines around charging infrastructure and these stories. I think for us, who are the early converts, we need to kind of shout back even louder, just to help show businesses that this can be done, it is achievable, and helps on hand. And I think that could be one of the core things that this rally helps us achieve.
Definitely. And one of the other big barriers to switching to an electric vehicle is charging, isn't it?
Yes. So, again, back to my more reflective mode, there's definitely work to do, but there are some organisations out there, really committed organisations, who are working really hard to get stuff done. So I saw a LinkedIn post yesterday by Osprey Charging talking about the vast number of rapid chargers that they've installed so far this year. And like I said, something about GridServe, and others. And it's some of those charging queues that are reaching the papers. And so I think we need to help organisations overcome that barrier. And those articles largely focus on public charging, and that infrastructure is coming and it's improving. But it doesn't really need to be a barrier for many motorists. We know that lots of folk are doing short journeys, and if they're able to charge at home, that's a really good alternative. Again, in our surveys, we find that many businesses are considering putting charging in their workplace. So if you can charge at home, you can charge at work. It reduces the reliance on public travel. I've now had an EV for a couple of years, and I can count on one hand probably the amount of times I've had to charge on the road. And so it's just helping organisations understand the way around that barrier. There are barriers there. Change always has barriers. So it's just face up the barrier and understand how you can work around it.
And I guess the EV rally really will test that public charging infrastructure.
Yeah, it is a great way of testing it, and undoubtedly we'll learn some stuff, and we'll find some. We might find the edges of the capability. I guess on this journey, but I suspect we'll learn lots more about it. We're ready to take the public on that journey with us.
Are there any other ways to reduce the reliance on petrol and diesel vehicles that businesses could consider?
Yeah, I think there are. It's obviously moving to EVs. It's obviously the leading solution. I've talked a bit about some of the barriers and how it can help. Car sharing is a tool that we're seeing organisations use. It almost moves your organisation to a needs only basis around vehicle use, and actually nearly half of the folk that we surveyed already had some form of corporate car sharing within their business. and they're finding a way of operating a pooled fleet. So that does help reduce their emissions. Over a third of the organisations that we surveyed said that they're considering car sharing as well in the future as part of their solution. And so really, what we're finding is that they are being more mindful around the types of vehicles they use, when they use them, and trying to go onto a needs must basis. You know, every ICE mile removed from the road has a positive impact on carbon footprint.
And so, what immediate steps can businesses take to help with the transition?
So there's that light thing that I talked to you about. And this, in fact, is one of our environmental tools. You know, as micro as having lights on sensors are, and having a print-free office and all that stuff, you know, these are like small measures that businesses can take to help reduce their overall energy consumption and so on. But yeah, I think businesses need to find a way just to get started. So I'd encourage them to review their existing mobility usage, but consider it not only from a cost perspective, but from a carbon perspective. I think really getting into that mindset of usage through to carbon and drawing a direct link between the two. And I think when they do need to acquire or upgrade their fleet, being aware of EVs, and they can use folk like us at Europcar to do a try before you buy solution. So they can have a vehicle from us. They can test the range of EVs that they've got, and really become familiar with what will work for them in their business, so that when they move, doesn't feel like it's such a risk. They're not acquiring a really expensive fleet of EVs. They can go into that change with some form of assurance. So I think that's you know, that they need to understand the challenge, need to find ways of reducing their footprint, but trying before you buy with someone like us will help. And even if you're not quite ready to go for the EV, if you can upgrade the age of your ICE vehicle, well, no, it's not the preferred solution. A more modern ICE vehicle is more carbon friendly than an old ICE vehicle. So, you know, whilst we encourage EVs, that is a micro step again to reducing the carbon footprint. So, yeah, you know, we're here to help, and all of these organisations that are taking part in the EV rally, I'm sure will be on hand to help folk when they are looking at what immediate steps that they can take, and how can they move to a more carbon friendly fleet.
Mm-hmm. So you've mentioned the try before you buy aspect of Europcar, but where else does Europcar fit in when it comes to solutions?
Yeah, so I think businesses looking at how to work around the challenges of buying new vehicles can look at rental as a solution. You know, it does provide companies with access to the newest, most efficient and environmentally friendly vehicles, and it's also as and when required. So you don't have to do that outlay and be sat with an asset for an entire year. You can get a vehicle when you need it. That vehicle can be more carbon friendly than the vehicle that you used before. I think that that kind of commitment-free approach. You know, we have a product called Europcar Flex, which gives businesses more flexibility around the types of vehicles that they have. So I think de-risking the idea of moving to an EV, using someone like us to test a range of solutions, and then choosing something that's really suitable for you is where we like to help. You know, we run a very large fleet here in the UK. We have our own employee fleet that we've now moved to kind of 90% EV. So we've got good experience of this, and we'd like to help and consult businesses to support them on their journey.
And is Europcar walking the talk on sustainability?
Yeah, I think we are. And you know, there's definitely more to do, but we've made lots of progress. It's now core to our purpose, which is the first time you know, I've seen sustainability right there in our purpose. And the group is taking a really holistic view and trying to make changes across the business. And so that's already led to a significant reduction in emissions, and has given me, I guess, really good confidence for where we're going to take the business. Europcar's main focus really is on reducing our carbon footprint via our One Sustainable Fleet program. We've got a target to have 20% of our global fleet being green vehicles by the end of next year. So that's no mean feat. We've got a very, very large fleet. 90% of our UK company car vehicles are EV or hybrid. The balance being, the weighting of that being EV. So the average CO2 for this fleet is 17 grams compared to 114 grams 12 months ago. So that's a good improvement. We're also making improvements to our infrastructure. So we've got more than 80 EV charge points up and down our station network. We've got a further 120 being added this year. So we're really doubling down on our charging capability. We've also looked at our operations. So we're finding ways in which we can reduce the footprint of our operations. So we do a delivery and collection service, and in tight conurbations, we're using e-bikes to cycle out and collect the vehicle. And so we're doing that in quite a large number of our delivery collections. So each e-bike delivery collection is removing carbon from the road. We're also working really closely with OEMs and with our customer base to try and make sure that we're stocking the right range of EVs. So it's a really holistic approach. And we've done work with the Central kind of European science-based organisations to make sure we've got science-based targets. And we've just been awarded the AAA by Moody's from a sustainability perspective. So we've got a plan, we're delivering against it, but we're holding ourselves to account by the use of these external organisations to have a really objective view to make sure that we are making the right progress. Always loads to do, but we are cracking on.
That's excellent. Okay, so that's nearly all we have time for, Mark. But before we go, could you tell viewers how you see the electric vehicle market progressing in the UK, and if Europcar has any future plans to aid with the transition?
Yes, so we are really excited to be part of the EV rally this year to help showcase the capabilities of EVs. We hope it helps really demonstrate to businesses that any preconceived barriers that they had about transitioning, like charging and range, that you can overcome them. And we hope really underlines our commitment to helping businesses transition to more sustainable modes of transport now and in the future. We're really excited about taking part. We hope it will be a living, working study of just how EVs are capable and how you can use them to get around the country and to keep mobile. And what we want to do is to bring businesses on the journey with us.
Okay, so that's all we have time for on this edition of EV Rally Talks. Mark, thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you on the rally. But before we go, just to say you can watch the rally unfold across our social media channels, Twitter and LinkedIn. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.